What's up, everyone? My name is Branden. Returning viewers, you guys know me as Derp or Derp Wigglies, and I want to share something I've been working on that's deeply personal to me. And that is the creation of a brand new game studio. So, as of a week ago, I have started the process of creating a game studio with a few others from my community and my friends and just a bunch of other people. Uh, we're still finalizing the paperwork, so I won't give out the name or the exact final processes of it yet, but I can talk about what we want to do and our objective. Our mission is simple. We want to make kick ass video games, but not just any games. We want to make games that are built different. We're going back to the old school development strategies and principles that, the kind that have been overshadowed by modern trends of rushed releases, endless early access phases, and needless over monetization. We want to focus on players first and foremost, not just them having fun, but their actual well-being and how games affect them, along with their wallet. Well, of course, we want to do this because we feel that it's important for games to be made in a way that doesn't sacrifice playability for profit. Because of this, we focus on a 1.0 release first philosophy. So we're always focusing on what 1.0 is going to look like from the very beginning. That means no vertical slices rushed into early access, no half finished alphas where players feel like eternal beta testers. We believe in doing things right the first time, even if it takes a little bit longer or more money. You deserve to play games that are polished, complete, and fun on day one. When you're looking to 1.0, you shouldn't be expecting more of the same when that official release finally drops. It shouldn't just be the exact same thing you've been playing. That's not an early access. They're just taking your money to act as game testers when that used to be a paid position in most game studios that they're now dissolving. You are paying to replace people's jobs. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to do pay for quality of life, pay to win, needlessly long grinds just to force players to spend money on boosts or passes. Fuck that shit. It has no place here. It has no place in the gaming environment. But for me, this isn't just about quality. It's also about accessibility and equity. My wife, who I affectionately call Mrs. Wigglies, has epilepsy. Her epilepsy has audio and visual triggers that make most games completely unplayable for her. And sorry, this it's kind of personal to me. But we have a hard time finding games that we can play together. She loves video games. Before she was diagnosed with epilepsy, her favorite games were Fallout and Skyrim. She can no longer play those games that she has sunk hundreds or thousands of hours into. And because of her audio and visual triggers, we can't play most games together. Even stuff like Stardew Valley or simple games, like we can't play together for long periods of time because they're not designed with her in mind. We want to laugh. We want to strategize, compete against each other, compete against others, be able to play at a regular pace without her feeling left out, overwhelmed, or if the worst happens, take a trip to the ER because of a seizure. That's always in the back of my mind every time I open up Unreal Engine to work on the game we're working on, Shadows Below. That's in the back of my mind. That's why our studio is committed to accessibility from the ground up. We're not taking on a colorblind mode or epilepsy warning as afterthoughts just to protect our own asses. We're consulting with people who actually live with these challenges, like my wife and my friends, to design games that work for everyone. not just people like her, but for everybody. Deaf players, people with autism, those with tactile or physical needs, they shouldn't have to fight against a game and its mechanics just to enjoy playing it. They should feel like they have agency and belong and can actually play that game from the start. And listen, I'm not here to pat myself on the back for being progressive or forward thinking. I'm not. I don't need or want anybody's brownie points. This is personal for me, and I'm selfish as fuck. This is about making games that I can play with my friends and family without having to have my cell phone on speed dial for the paramedics. It's about making games that more people can play without getting sick or having to stop because of something outside of their control. This isn't their fault. They shouldn't have to suffer just to enjoy this form of media that is so beautiful. Now, let's talk about how we're building this studio. I'm not a genius who thinks that they know it all. I am pushing my ego to the side because the truth is, most of the work is going to be done by people way smarter and more talented than I am. That's why I'm building this studio as a worker owned cooperative. As soon as the paperwork is finalized, I can be voted out of my role as president. I don't give a shit. I don't care about being the leader. I don't care about getting any accolades or whatever comes from being the head of a studio. I don't even really care about the money. I know I can't make the types of games I want to play alone. I can't do it by myself. I need the help of other people to make this happen. It isn't about me. It's about you guys, the players, and the people making the games. It's about the players, the people who make the games, and the games themselves. Without that, I don't matter. Our board isn't filled with investors or publishers who've never touched a controller or used a mouse to control a character. It's made up of our own team members. The writer crafting the lore and the developer building the combat system have a very real say in what happens here. And they also have an equal share of the business. Every single member employee owns one equal share of the business, and they get to vote who their board of directors are, and those board of directors have to come from within the company. They can't be from VC. It's all being codified by our code of conduct, and it's going to be legally binding. These people, the devs and the writers and the people who build the game, deserve to be paid fairly. They deserve to be treated ethically, and they deserve to have control over their futures. The more the studio makes, the more money those people, the people actually making the games, make. I want full transparency. I want equity across all the members in the company, and I want the members to have the agency to decide their own future. I don't want money funneling up to some dude who realistically doesn't do all that much other than get in the way. The game industry today, it's a fucking disaster. AAA studios prioritize profits over people, releasing broken games on unsustainable time limits. This drives up the cost of development as a whole. It makes it harder for indie and small publishers to work. It makes it harder for people like me who want to start a studio to actually do good work and try to maybe help people if I can. It makes it more difficult when they do shit like this, because that becomes what is expected. People are expected to have a 1 year vision to virtual slice, 1 year or less even, vision to virtual slice pipeline, that they then release that virtual slice into an early access so they could start profiting as soon as possible. But that's what we want to do differently. We don't want to do that. We want to buck that trend, and we want to prove that it doesn't have to be that way. There used to be a time when a group of friends who were savvy enough with code or willing to learn can sit down and make a kick-ass video game for relatively cheap. The minimum budget wasn't $1 million. Our vision is pretty straightforward. We want kick-ass games made by kick-ass people for kick-ass players. At the end of the day, the reality is that we're a small group of dudes and lady dudes who want to make cool shit without corporate nonsense holding us back. If that sounds like a studio you want to support or even work for, then welcome to our journey. If you want to see what it's like to build a studio with frankly very little money from the ground up and try to achieve something that people keep saying is impossible, follow, subscribe, hit that button, do everything you can. Um, we want to build something different, something personal, something impactful that is meaningful to you, the player, the audience, the people who actually matter. We want to build cool shit for you guys without sacrificing the quality of life that these developers and employees just like they deserve. Well, there is absolutely no reason that the people who are the most responsible for building a video game should be paid less than their equivalent in a field like finance or web development or app development. Like, we're losing a lot of very talented people in the game space simply because we are AAA studios, namely, are unwilling to give these people any kind of equity or agency. So we're doing something personal here, and we want you guys to join us along for the ride. And when we can announce more about what this project looks like, both the game and the studio, we're going to be sharing it either through here, or I'm going to be starting a YouTube video or a YouTube channel specifically for the game itself. Everything for the studio is probably going to be shared through this channel. And then everything for the game is going to be on its own independent video game uh, YouTube channel, Shadows Below. I'll link it in the description. I've already made it, posted one video, just a little teaser. But yeah, I can't wait to share this with you guys. So stay tuned. It's going to be a hell of a ride. And without player support and developer support and the community support, we're not going to be able to do it. So we need you guys. But yeah, thanks, guys. I hope you guys are excited about this as I am. I'm going to try to keep this brief. But yeah, Derp out. Peace.